Give thanks with a grateful heart. Give thanks to the Holy One. Give thanks because He's given Jesus Christ, His Son. And now let the weak say, I am strong. Let the poor say, I am rich because of what the Lord has done for us. And now let the weak say, I am strong. Let the poor say, I am rich because of what the Lord has done for us. Give thanks. Hello everyone, my name is Titilope Iyowu, and on Destiny Storytelling today we will be talking about, it is not Job, we will be talking about a man named Gideon. We will be talking about the relationship between Gideon and God. What did God ask Gideon to do? Did Gideon do it? What was the outcome? And what do we have to learn from that story? We will be focusing on the book of Judges, chapter 6, the message, but we will be reading from verse 1 through to verse 23. But before we start, I'd like to go to the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 27, which says, But God has chosen the foolish things of the world to put to shame the wise. And God has chosen the weak things of the world to put to shame the things which are mighty. What does this mean? Let's get into the book of Judges, and then we will get a meaning of 1 Corinthians 1:27. In the book of Judges, chapter 6, we start from verse 1. Yet again, the people of Israel went back to doing evil in God's sight. God put them under the domination of Midian for 7 years. Midian overpowered Israel. Because of Midian, the people of Israel made for themselves hideouts in the mountains, caves, and forts. Because of what the Israelites were facing from the Midianites, they had to hide out in mountains and in caves. When Israel planted its crop, Midian and Amalek, the Easterners, would invade them, camp in their field, and destroy their crops all the way down to Gaza. They left nothing for them to live on, neither sheep, nor ox, nor donkey. Bringing their cattle and tents, they came in and took over like an invasion of locusts. When I had a look, I went on YouTube and I typed invasion of locusts, and when I saw how much destruction locusts caused the farm, I was like, oh, now I can get the picture of what the Israelites faced. And their camels past counting. They marched in and devastated the country. The people of Israel reduced to grinding poverty by Midian cried out to God for help. The people of Israelites cried out to God for help. This is not the first time the Israelites will cry out to God. Remember when they were held in slavery by the Egyptians, they cried out to God, and God heard their prayers and sent Moses to free them. Let's go on with the book of Judges. We'll start now from verse 7. One time, when the people of Israel had cried out to God because of Midian, God sent them a prophet with this message. God, the God of Israel, says, I delivered you from Egypt. I freed you from a life of slavery. I rescued you from Egypt's brutality and then from every oppressor. I pushed them out of your way and gave you their land. And I said to you, I am God, your God. Don't for a minute be afraid of the gods of the Amorites in whose land you are living. But you didn't listen to me. Now, one day the angel of God came and sat down under the oak in the Ophrah that belonged to Joash the Abiezrite, whose son Gideon. Now, this is where Gideon comes into the picture. Gideon was threshing wheat in the winepress out of sight of the Midianites. The angel of God appeared to him and said, God is with you, O mighty warrior. What did Gideon say? Gideon replied, with me, my master, if God is with us, why has all this happened to us? Where are all the miracle wonders our parents and grandparents told us about, telling us, didn't God deliver us from Egypt? The fact is, God has nothing to do with us. He has turned us over to Midian. But God faced him directly. After the angel of the Lord had spoken to him, God now faced him directly. Go in this strength that is yours. Save Israel from Midian. Haven't I just sent you? Gideon said to him, me, my master, how and with what could I ever save Israel? Look at me. My clan is the weakest in the Manasseh, and I am the ruin of the litter. You know, sometimes some people belittle themselves, maybe due to labels, like you're the black sheep of the family, all sort of things, and you think that you've come to nothing. Let me tell you, God can use anybody and in any circumstance. God does not see the way people see. God sees through people's heart. Now, what happened? God said to him, which is to Gideon, I will be with you. Believe me, you will defeat Midian as one man. Gideon said, if you are serious about this, do me a favor. Give me a sign to back up what you're telling me. Don't leave until I come back and bring you my gift. Now Gideon went and prepared a young goat and a huge amount of unraised bread. He put the meat in a basket and the broth in a pot and took them back under the shade of the oak tree for a sacred meal. The angel of God said to him, take the meat and unraised bread, place them on that rock and pour the broth on them. And Gideon did exactly that. The angel of God stretched out the tip of the stick he was holding and touched the meat and the bread. Fire broke out of the rock and burnt up the meat and bread, while the angel of God slipped away out of sight, and Gideon knew it was the angel of God. Gideon said, oh no, Master God, I have seen the angel of God face to face. But God reassured him, easy now, don't panic, you won't die. It is human nature to always doubt. When we have a difficulty, when we have a mountain of this big problem in front of us that seems almost impossible to resolve, you know fight it with the word of God and in God's strength. But the problem we face these days is that people are afraid and they doubt. They limit the power of God inside of them. God is awesome and humongous. So when God is inside of us, we can do mighty things. Now, was Gideon the first person to doubt? No. Let's take a read here. The book of Exodus chapter 3 we'll start from chapter 1. Now we're going to have a read, about how God called Moses as well. Did Moses react the way Gideon react? Let's have a read quickly. Now Moses was shepherding the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. He led the flock to the west and of the wilderness and came to the mountain of God, Horeb. The angel of God appeared to him in flames of fire blazing out of the middle of the bush. He looked, the bush was blazing away, but it did not burn up. Moses said, "What is going on here? I can't believe this. Amazing. Why doesn't the bush burn up?" So many times God tries to call our attention through little God sparks. I like to call it God sparks, things that, that people take for granted. It might be in your situation, it might be through nature, through a flower, through anything. Because we underestimate the power of God, we get to miss that chance of what God is trying to say to us. But look at Moses. He said, "What's going on here? I can't believe this. Amazing. Why doesn't the bush burn up?" Then God saw that he had stopped to look. Are you going to stop to listen to what God is trying to say to you today? Anyways, God saw that he had stopped to look. God called to him from out of the bush, "Moses, Moses." He said, "Yes, I am right. I am right here." God said, "Don't come any closer. Remove your sandals from your feet. You are standing on holy ground." Then he said, "I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob." Moses hid his face, afraid to look at God. God said, I have taken a good long look at the affliction of my people in Egypt. I have heard their cries for deliverance from their slave masters. I know all about their pain. God knows about all that your difficulty. God sees that big mountain before you, so do not be afraid. And now I have come down to help them, pry them loose from the grip of Egypt, get them out of that country, and bring them to a good land with wide open space, a land lush with milk and honey, the land of the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Amorite, and the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. The Israelite cry for help has come to me, and I have seen for myself how cruelly they have been treated by the Egyptians. It is time for you to go back. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the people of Israel, out of Egypt. Now Moses answered God, "But why me?" Gideon also said, "No, not me." Are you also saying, "No, not me"? You don't want God to use you, you're too scared, and you're not considering the mighty power that is inside of you. Anyway, Moses answered God, "But why me? What makes you think that I could ever go to Pharaoh and lead the children of Israel out of Egypt? I will be with you," God said. "And this will be the proof that I am the one who sent you. When you have brought my people out of Egypt, you will worship God right here at this very mountain." So you see, it is human nature to doubt God, but God is saying, "Don't doubt me. Trust in me wholeheartedly, and I'll get you out of that difficulty. Do not fear. I don't look at you based on your circumstances, the way people see you as the black sheep of the family. I'm not looking at all the things that happened to you in the past, the things that people look at and say, 'Oh, I don't want to have anything to do with that person.' Didn't you hear?" God is not that type. So it's human nature to doubt. I am encouraging you today. Do not doubt that spark of God. Do not doubt that mighty power of God. Now, something amazes me about the story of Moses. Now, if we also go to the book of Exodus as well, chapter 4 from verse 10. Moses did not stop there. So many times when God is telling us things, we are afraid. God keeps telling me, I am with you, but you are still telling God, no, not me. Just like Moses. Moses went ahead and raised another objection to God. Master, please, I don't talk well. I have never been good with words, neither before nor after you spoke to me. I stutter and stammer. Now, God said, and who do you think made the human mouth? And who makes some mute, some deaf, some sighted, some blind? Isn't it I, God? So get going. I will be right there with you. With your mouth, I will be right there to teach you what to say. He said, Oh, Master, again. After God had reassured him, Moses went on and said, Oh, Master, please send somebody else. Now God got angry with Moses. Don't you have a brother Aaron the Levite? He's good with words. I know he is. He speaks very well. In fact, at this very moment, he is on his way to meet you. When he sees you, he's going to be glad. You will speak to him and tell him what to say. I will be right there with you as you speak and with him as he speaks, teaching you step by step. He will speak to the people for you. He will act as your mouth, but you will decide what comes out of it. Now take the staff in your hand and you will use it to do the signs. So be very patient. God walks through us in step. And if you don't obey the first step and act on it, you won't get to proceed to the next step. You're still doubting in the first step. You're never going to get to the end unless you go gradually with God and then you begin to see the mighty power of our awesome God. Now, another thing, amazes me about the story of Moses and God in particular. In Exodus chapter 7, verse 7, it reads, And Moses was 80 years old, and Aaron 83 years old when they spoke to Pharaoh. Can you just imagine that? God used a man of 80 years old and another man of 83 years old. Are you 50? Are you 60? Are you 40 and you think your life has finished? No, 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 no. When God starts with you, that is it. So don't lose hope, at that age. Don't belittle yourself. Don't belittle the power of God that is inside of you. God can begin to display his, unusual and awesome character through you, regardless of your age, regardless of your circumstances, regardless of the background that you are from. And you think that is all. Now there's another story that amazes me, and that story kind of aligns with the book of First Corinthians 1:27. This time it is the story of David, how Samuel anointed David. Such an awesome story. Let's read through this and so we can get an understanding of what is happening. This is the book of First Samuel, chapter 16. So we start from verse 1. Now the Lord said to Samuel, How long will you mourn for Saul, since I have rejected him as king over Israel? Fill your horn with oil and be on your way. I am sending you to Jesse of Bethlehem. I have chosen one of his sons to be king. But Samuel said, How can I go? If Saul hears about it, he will kill me. This is Samuel also. We always have excuses when God tries to do something through us. That is human nature. I'm just encouraging you to trust God in that process and in that vision and dream that God has given to you. So the Lord said, Take a ephah with you and say, I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Invite Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you what to do. You are to anoint for me the one I indicate. Now Samuel did what the Lord said. When he arrived at Bethlehem, the elders of the town trembled when they met him. They asked, "Do you come in peace?" Samuel replied, "Yes, in peace I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Consecrate yourselves and come to the sacrifice with me." Then he consecrated Jesse and his sons and invited them to the sacrifice. Now, when they arrived, Samuel saw Eliab and thought, "Surely the Lord's anointed stands here before the Lord." But the Lord said to Samuel, "Do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him." The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. So many times we want to vote for a leader, or we want people to represent us somewhere. We kind of look at the physique of a person and the bank account of that person. We people, we judge with appearance. What is that person wearing? All the latest shoes, and we choose people based on that. But God doesn't do that. God uses the things of the foolish to shame the wise, and he uses the things of the weak to shame the strong. So uh, what happened then? Then Jesse called Abinadab and had him pass in front of Samuel. But Samuel said, "The Lord has not chosen this one either." Jesse then had Shammah pass by, but Samuel said, "Nor has the Lord chosen this one." Jesse had 7 of his sons pass before Samuel. But Samuel said to him, "The Lord has not chosen any of these people." So he asked Jesse, he was thinking, if all these 7 sons have passed, there must still be somebody. The Lord sent me here. There has to be somebody. So he asked Jesse, "Are they all the sons you have?" "There is still the youngest," Jesse answered. "He is tending the sheep." Samuel said, "Send for him. We will not sit down until he arrives." So he sent for him and had him brought in. He was glowing with health and had a fine appearance and handsome features. Then the Lord said, "Rise and anoint him. This is the one." So Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the presence of his brothers, his elder brothers. And from that day on, the Spirit of the Lord Almighty came powerfully upon David. Samuel then went to Ramah. Such an awesome story. We have people in their family that have been labeled as the black sheep of the family. People even say nothing good can come out of this one. Can't you see? People name other people as poor and wretched. This person, even when people are sick, people still say this person can never survive. They say all sorts of things. Now, do you see that our God and Father does not choose the way we choose? God sees the heart. God walks with an open and willing heart, not with your appearance, what you're wearing, and your bank account, and everything that we use to classify people in this world. So you see, if you want God to walk through you, if you want to be victorious, the best place to start is with your heart. Begin to take away all those emotional blocks and begin to fill it with the word of God. So this is just the beginning of the story of Gideon. Of course, God said something to Gideon. There was a task that Gideon had to accomplish. Did he do it? What was the outcome? uh just hang in there. In the next episode we will continue with that. If you have been blessed, please like and please share as well. And if you happen to go onto my YouTube channel, don't forget to click that scary subscribe button. Be blessed.